you're drafting an NFL player with the #1 overall pick, you're expecting greatness. And sometimes you get it, but other times you get players like these.
I know that there's a story, you know, with the snow crabs or stone crabs or whatever it might have been.
Oh man, yeah.
Right.
Stone crabs?
Yeah, whatever that
Crab
whole theft thing was at Publix or whatever it might have been. I don't know I just know it happened.
With 10 years of picks to get through, let's travel back in time to 2010. Sam Bradford was a slick draft prospect, offering all of the attributes that you would want in an NFL quarterback.
Sam Bradford, again, is just out of this world. The guy's incredible.
His strong arm and pinpoint accuracy were there for everyone to see, but he was also renowned for his ability to command the huddle and make good decisions. The St. Louis Rams selected him to be the face of their franchise with the first overall pick in 2010, and after 1 year, they would be feeling pretty good about themselves. Bradford passed for over 3,000 yards and 18 touchdowns in his rookie season, winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year award for his efforts, but unfortunately, he never managed to progress from this point. A slew of serious injuries would lead him to miss 15 games across his first 4 seasons in the league, before missing out on his entire 2014 season.
While doctors here at McBride Clinic have seen a lot of sports injuries, and one doctor says the type of injury Sam Bradford has needs an operation for him to play again.
And honestly, even when he did manage to stay healthy, Bradford's play was pretty underwhelming and was eventually traded by the Rams. The Eagles made him the starter in 2015, but he was promptly shipped off to Minnesota in 2016. Here he managed to put together a good season, but all the momentum was once again lost due to his injury in 2017. His final year in the league was 2018, when the Arizona Cardinals took a chance on him to be their starting quarterback. After a poor start to the season, he was cut by the team after just 3 games and never played another down in the NFL. Bradford delivered some solid play at the league's hardest position, but ultimately his best season achievement was earning a $130 million contract despite never being responsible for a winning season or being selected to the Pro Bowl.
With the first pick in the 2011 NFL Draft, the Carolina Panthers select Cam Newton, quarterback, Auburn.
Cam Newton is one of the most memorable #1 overall selections to feature on this list. Never shy of making headlines in a career that had some major highs and lows. Just like Sam Bradford, Cam Newton kicked his career off in the best way possible, winning the Offensive Rookie of the Year award after topping 4,000 passing yards and 21 touchdowns. Newton entered the league as a physical freak, possessing elite quarterback characteristics in a 6'5" frame that could wreak havoc with his legs. Newton rushed for over 706 yards and 14 touchdowns as a rookie, becoming an instant star and one of the league's biggest names over the following years. The highlight of his career was a 2015 season that saw him win the MVP award and take his team to a Super Bowl appearance, which they unfortunately lost to Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos. He threw for 35 touchdowns in 2015, ran for 10 more, and became famous for his Superman celebration. Newton's dual threat ability certainly helped him perform like Superman on the field during the early stages of his career, but he failed to reach the same heights after the Panthers' Super Bowl loss in the 2015 season. His play dropped off in Carolina, not helped by several injuries and wear and tear from taking so many big hits, and his relationship with the team soured, resulting in him being cut by the team in 2020. A poor season in New England was followed by a surprise and briefly exciting return to Carolina. The success was only fleeting, however, and the ex-MVP was benched for the final time in 2021. The next player on this list could arguably still be playing today if injuries didn't cut his career short. Andrew Luck entered the 2012 draft process with a reputation for being one of the most highly anticipated quarterback prospects of a generation.
He did things this year that Peyton Manning did in his career while he was with the Colts. He's way ahead of the curve. So if you're looking for slow and steady wins the race, your man is Luck.
The Indianapolis Colts were the team to select him #1 overall, wowed by his college record, physical skill set, and football IQ that many said set him on a path to be a future Hall of Famer. 3 Pro Bowls to start his career certainly seemed to suggest that all the draft hype was on point, highlighted by a 2014 season that saw him throw for a league-leading 40 touchdowns and over 4,000 yards. Colts fans who had enjoyed 13 seasons of Peyton Manning probably couldn't believe their luck as they watched their new super superstar quarterback embark on what seemed to be another historic quarterback career. However, in 2015, their fortunes would turn south when Andrew Luck's physical style of play began to take a toll. He missed half of his 2015 season before sitting out all of 2017 with a shoulder injury. And a devastated Andrew Luck decided to call an early end to his career before the 2019 season. Having only played 6 seasons in the NFL, the decision came as a shock to fans in one of the most bizarre retirements in NFL history. Andrew Luck was on the sideline of a Colts preseason game when the news broke, leading to an infamous lasting image of him being booed by fans as he left the field. A sad end to what could have been an incredible career. The first non-quarterback on this list is Eric Fisher, a left tackle selected by the Kansas City Chiefs, going on to play in every Chiefs game between 2014 and 2018. As he became more comfortable in the NFL, Fisher began to excel as a tackle, becoming a reliable protector for Alex Smith and later Patrick Mahomes. He was selected to the Pro Bowl in 2018 and then again in 2020, but the later stages of his career were impacted by injuries. Despite playing in only 8 games because of injury in 2019, Fisher was able to return later in the season to help the Chiefs win their first Super Bowl since 1969. That would be Fisher's last game for Kansas City. He moved to Indianapolis in 2021, where he played as an average level offensive lineman, before signing for Miami in 2022, for whom he never played a snap for. But this next draft selection has one of the most violent hits of all time.
Wow. Michigan at the 41. What a hit! Ball's free on the ground. South Carolina deserves to have it, and they do.
Jadeveon Clowney was a hot prospect in the 2014 NFL draft, earning a reputation as a rare talent with impressive physical attributes. His selection by the Texans was the first time that the #1 overall pick had been used on a defensive player since 2006. He would familiarize himself with the NFL game in his sophomore year, before really making his mark in 2016, playing alongside future Hall of Famer J.J. Watt. His 6 sacks, 16 tackles for loss, and 52 total tackles were good enough to get him his first of 3 consecutive Pro Bowl appearances and a first-team All-Pro recognition. Despite the 3 consecutive Pro Bowl selections, Clowney hadn't quite lived up to the hype that made him such an exciting first overall selection. As a result, he has bounced around the league after departing from Houston, playing for Seattle, Tennessee, Cleveland, and now Baltimore. His talent and physical characteristics are undeniable, popping up with huge hits and game-wrecking performances from time to time. But injuries and inconsistent play mean that Clowney has fallen well short of what fans and analysts had hoped he might be. And my personal favorite on this list, who I think should be the starting quarterback for the Saints.
One of the best back tandems in the league, right? With Latavius and Alvin. I heard some snickers, but excuse my language, right? Tandem was good. Is either.
Jameis Winston's NFL career has not lived up to the on-field expectations that came along with being the #1 overall pick, but it has provided fans with many memorable moments. Winston flashed his potential by topping 4,000 yards in both of his first 2 seasons and being selected for the Pro Bowl as a rookie. He was the first quarterback in NFL history to start with back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons and currently stands as the Buccaneers' all-time passing leader with 19,737 yards. Yes, that means he has more passing yards than Tom Brady did. Despite this, his time in Tampa Bay was disappointing. His gunslinger mentality produced yards and exciting moments, but also had a fair share of interceptions, like a lot of interceptions. His 2019 season was the perfect example of this, passing for a league-leading 5,109 yards to go along with a league-leading 30 interceptions. He was not franchise quarterback material and didn't make it beyond his rookie contract with the Buccaneers. However, Winston did sign for the New Orleans Saints in 2020, where he has started 10 games, but mostly operated as a backup quarterback.
As a kid, my passion was always football. I didn't realize that my passion was playing football.
He also has a reputation for slightly strange off-field storylines. He went viral for his Eat a W team talk and got into trouble for an incident with an Uber driver, which led him being suspended for 3 games in 2018. Oh yeah, and his workouts are always a must-watch when they are starting to go viral on social media.
Well, I just think we were prepared. You know, one thing my trainer, he told me, he said, what did he say? He just told us to be prepared.
This next selection has had a story of two halves. After being drafted by the Los Angeles Rams, Jared Goff didn't get the opportunity to start until halfway through his rookie year, replacing veteran Case Keenum. It was about as bad of a start as you could have imagined for the number 1 overall pick, passing for 1,089 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. And to add on top of this, the team lost every one of his starts, and it was looking like an all-time bust of a pick. New head coach Sean McVay managed to turn things around in 2017 though, helping Jared Goff realize some of his potential. Goff put together 2 very nice seasons in 2017 and 2018, passing for over 8,000 yards and over 50 touchdowns. The later of these saw Goff lead the Rams to a Super Bowl II. A disastrous performance marked the beginning of a downward turn for the quarterback. And I don't blame the Rams, because with his career seemingly at a risk of falling apart, Goff was moved to the Detroit Lions as a part of a package deal for Matthew Stafford. As it turns out, Goff fit the system nicely, and as the team around him improved, Goff did too. In his second season as a Lion, Goff threw for over 4,000 yards and 29 touchdowns, and now leads one of the best offenses in the league. After being completely written off, Goff now finds himself as a key player on a Super Bowl contending team. Arguably, he could end up having the best career of any quarterback on this list, and has earned himself a payday in Detroit. And they did not disappoint with defensive players being drafted in the 2010s. Myles Garrett is just the second defensive player to be taken number 1 overall since 2006. Up to this point, Myles Garrett is the most likely player on this list to end up in the Hall of Fame. The physical freak and huge defensive end was selected by the Browns in 2017 and has been a statistical machine ever since. In his rookie season, he made the most of limited action when he recorded 7 sacks in just 11 games. As a sophomore, he moved into double digits for the first time, recording 13.5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 29 quarterback hits, and 3 forced fumbles. He was a force to be reckoned with and was selected as a second-team All-Pro player. Since this impressive sophomore season, Garrett has recorded double-digit sacks every year, being selected as a second-team All-Pro 1 more time and a first-team All-Pro twice. The only blemish on his career was a suspension that kept him off of the field for the second half of the 2019 season. There might have been some things that were said, and Garrett stripped the helmet off of Mason Rudolph's head and swung it at him in a fit of rage. The incident was shocking and put Garrett in the crosshairs for a lot of media attention. And now that things seem to have settled down again, Garrett is back to terrorizing quarterbacks, legally of course, but he continues to be a game wrecker and leads a Browns defense that is making waves in 2023. And the last 2 selections of the 2010s may go down as some of the biggest busts in NFL history. The Cleveland Browns had their second consecutive first overall selection in 2018, filling the franchise with the long lost hope by selecting Baker Mayfield. Mayfield headed up a highly touted class of quarterbacks, gaining interest because of his charisma, accuracy, and ability to throw whilst on the move. He looked like he could be the leader that would change the Browns' fortunes forever. And honestly, after a strong rookie season, Mayfield received enough votes to come in second in running for Offensive Rookie of the Year behind Saquon Barkley. He had broken the record for touchdowns thrown by a rookie. Things picked up in 2020 as he led the Browns to their first playoff appearance since 2002 and their first playoff win since 1994. Unfortunately, his inconsistencies would appear again with another down year in 2021, and after some public fallouts with his teammates, Baker was traded to the Carolina Panthers. His time with the Panthers was brief, leading to him also suiting up for the Los Angeles Rams and Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the last 2 years. And honestly, he has began the 2023 season well in Tampa Bay, but it will take a full season of consistent play to get his career back on track as the starting quarterback. And personally, I think one of the biggest busts, Kyler Murray rounds out the decade of number 1 selections, becoming a fascinating draft pick for several reasons. Firstly, this was not the first time his name had been called on a draft night after the Oakland Athletics selected him 9th overall in the 2018 MLB draft, before he eventually decided to declare for the 2019 NFL draft following his Heisman Trophy winning season in 2018. The other intriguing factor about Kyler Murray's selection was his size, registering at about 5'10" maybe with cleats on. This led to many questions about Murray's ability to operate successfully in the NFL. Thankfully for Arizona, Murray's play has provided the perfect answer to those questions. He did pass for over 3,700 yards and 20 touchdowns in each of his first 3 seasons. He also displayed dual threat ability by rushing for over 1,786 yards and 20 touchdowns across the same time span. And as we all know, an injury did cut his 4th year short in the league, allowing him to play more video games, but in his performances, he was pretty consistent. Based on his on-the-field play alone, a contract extension seemed like an obvious move for the Cardinals. And although he did sign a lucrative 5-year deal in 2022, it has ended up being more controversial than you expect. And an independent study clause in his contract led many to doubt his commitment to the game. We are yet to see if the Cardinals' faith in Murray has paid off, with the quarterback yet to return from injury that caused him to miss the final 6 games of the 2022 season. With Murray due back on field soon, we shouldn't have to wait too long to find out. And one thing is for sure, that the 2010 to 2019 crop of first overall selections is a great reminder that no pick is a surefire signing. Ahead of this controversial Caleb Williams whole thing too, many of the quarterbacks to go during this time period had great starts before faltering and bouncing around the league. Which selection from 2010 to 2019 stands out most to you? Many will argue that coaching has let their players down, and while that may be true, there are some future Hall of Famers from these classes, as well as possibly some of the biggest busts we may ever see.